Hey there everyone, it's GG Sober Son. January 13th. When we were drinking, we were living an unnatural life, physically and mentally. We were punishing our bodies by loading them with alcohol. We didn't eat enough and we ate the wrong things. We didn't get enough sleep or the right kind of rest. We were ruining ourselves physically. We had an alcoholic obsession, and we couldn't imagine life without alcohol. We kept imagining all kinds of crazy things about ourselves and about other people. We were ruining ourselves mentally. Since I came into AA, am I getting better physically and mentally? Oh, yeah. I remember I used to eat cheese dogs like they're going out of style. It's so terrible. And it was like, that was sort of like my gap-filling snack food. Even though, like, in the Air Force, I had what they called a meal card. I could go to the dining facility. They call it the DFAC these days, which is way cooler than the chow hall or whatever we called it back then. But I could go to the dining facility and eat as much as I wanted for nothing. And but I was skinny as a rail, and I would get snacks for my dorm room, and there was a microwave in the dorm. It's so funny. But that was my main staple, was cheese dogs and like Pringles or something like that. It's so bad. About the only time I would eat at the dining facility was breakfast, because I would stay up all night drinking. Yeah, I don't know how I did it, operating on very little sleep a lot of the time. And and very little sleep can impact you mentally for sure. So your attitude and outlook on life. And I noticed that later, more when I was sober. If I worked overnights for about 2 years, and I was chronically sleep deprived and just hated life, basically. It was ugh. But I'm more able to spot that these days. And in fact, I had an offer to work overnight. Someone reach out to me to do a job overnight, not even necessarily overnight, but at 8 p.m. And I am winding down, getting ready for bed at 8 p.m. these days. So I don't really want to be in. And there are a number of meetings that are late in the evening as well that just really, so that I'd like to attend, like tonight at my local Alano club. There's a good speaker, actually a former girlfriend of mine, who I know she's got an amazing story, and she's speaking tonight. But I don't normally go to that meeting because it starts at 8, 8 till 9. I'm just exhausted. Not exhausted, but I need to start getting ready for bed at that time. So I might not go. I don't know. Still trying to figure that one out. Meditation for the day. I believe that my life is being refined like gold in a crucible. God does not stay in a crucible. Gold does not stay in the crucible, only until it's refined. I will never despair or be despondent. I know I now have friends who long for me to conquer. If I should err or fail, it would cause pain and disappointment to them. I will keep trying to live a better life. I don't think that statement, I will never despair or be despondent, is a good ideal. I think it's important to identify when we despair, to be mindful of when we despair. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to be delusional about our feelings and our circumstances. And if you don't think that happens, yeah, keep coming to AA. You'll find some people that are delusional about their circumstances and about their own feelings. And I think a lot of us alcoholics come from backgrounds, childhoods, where we were told not to feel, and so it's okay. It's okay to feel. And sometimes we feel despair and despondent, but we can identify it today because we're not numbing ourselves out. We can learn and grow and know that our feelings of despair and despondency inform us that something's going on in our life and there's something that we need to bring to our higher power and allow our higher power to dictate our next steps. Because sometimes that despair and despondency is an indicator that something in our life needs to change. Whether it's turning to God for our identity, or it's changing maybe even where we live or where we work. If we get stuck in a rut about certain things, then it's necessary to change. Meditation for the day. I believe that my life is being refined like gold in a crucible. I already read that. I will keep trying to live a better life. That's the last sentence there. Yes, and it's not about getting good or being perfect or people-pleasing. That's what I thought it meant by living a better life in the early days of my recovery. I thought it was being a nice guy and making everybody happy, and if no one was upset, then it was then life was good. If someone was upset, I would try my darndest to soothe them or heal them or, get them to feel better. And if they didn't, if they weren't, directly in my life, I would just discard them. Just be like, all right, fine. You want to be like that? Fine. And scratch them off my list of potential friends. What's wrong with that guy? Or talk about him behind their back as well. Yeah, man. No, that guy's miserable. What's up with that guy? Do you think that guy's miserable? And that's not good. That's not healthy. But living a better life is knowing that sometimes I will feel despondent, getting in touch with my feelings, accepting people for who they are, warts and all, without trying to change them, doing the next right thing, being of service, but most of all, loving myself because I'm a child of God. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may always call on God's strength while the gold of my life is being refined. I like that. I pray that I may see it through with God's help. That's so good. There's a guy that I follow who, one of my favorite quotes of his is, the trials and trauma of our life, even our own self-made trials and trauma of our life, is our initiation to greatness. So no matter what we've been through, it can be used either as a strengthening refinement, as it says there, or as it's quoted in the big book on page 124, I think, what I often quote, our dark past in God's hands. In God's hands, the dark past is the greatest possession you have. Gold is a pretty precious commodity, right? And if every tough time that we've had in our life was like gold in a crucible being refined, then what comes out is pure gold in God's hands. So, chin up, aim up, rise up. Love y'all.